All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everyone. We hope that you have found the morning opening session, the kickoff of the inaugural symposium, and the two breakout sessions a meaningful, insightful, and in some instances, critically reflective. We're going to go ahead and get started here with our first panel of the two-day symposium. We'll have another panel tomorrow at the same time, but for today, I have the pleasure and the honor to facilitate this panel discussion with Terry, Alex, and Michael, and Alfredo, who will be joining us a little shortly. He's going to be logging in pretty soon, but he'll be joining us. I'm very excited about this. The topic and the title of this panel discussion is Pursuing Excellence in Higher Education. And the purpose of these discussion questions are really for you in the audience to get a better understanding of the lived experience of our carceral impacted students, and how also the college has served as a place for transformation for them in their experience. So again, very excited. I'm going to go ahead and start with the first question, and I'm going to go one by one to each of our panelists.
Right, be quiet.
And it's important to go one by one, so each person can speak and have a time to respond to the questions, and equally important, so our interpreter is able to keep up with the conversation. So with that being said, the first question I have for our panelists is, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, your major, if you have one identified, and what are your future goals? So let's go ahead and start with you, Terry. I think you're on mute, Terry.
Oh, well, my name is Terry. My major is alcohol drug counseling and social work. My goals is give back and help the community for those that can't help themselves. Mentor the kids, the ones that's getting caught up out here in this negativity. I don't want to see them go through what I have been through. So that's my goal and objective, is to get back to the community and help the community out there.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. And next, we're going to go to Alex Banda. Alex.
All right. Thank you, Ray. I just want to thank everyone for being here, for spending the afternoon with us, and welcome to the first annual symposium. Okay, so my name is Alex Banda. I am in my last semester at Fresno State. I'll be graduating this semester with a bachelor's degree in psychology and a minor in Chicano studies. I'm currently working. My future goals is I plan to take a semester off so I can study for the LSAT, and so I can focus more on a nonprofit that I would like to see get up and running and funded pretty soon. And I plan to be a lawyer where I specialize in criminal law and immigration. And I currently work at Fresno City College, the Rising Scholars program that me, Victoria, and the rest of the team are in the process of developing. And yeah, so I'm a peer mentor, and I love my job. I love everything that's coming about now, and I'm glad to see that we're finally getting a space for formerly incarcerated students on campus. It's something that I've been working towards for a long time now, and I just thank you guys all for the support.
Thank you so much, Alex. We'll go ahead and go to Michael. Michael?
Hi, my name is Michael. I served 20 years, 7 months, 6 days. I graduated, I got my associate's degree when I was still inside, about 6 months before I paroled. And then when I paroled, I transitioned into Fresno City College with an emphasis on music, commercial music production and audio engineering. I went to Fresno City for almost 10 months and got certified as an audio engineer through Professor Brady. It was an amazing experience. I currently work 2 full-time jobs. I've taken a break from college until next year, where I'm transitioning into Fresno State through Project Rebound. And I already have, I think I only need maybe 30 more credits to get my bachelor's degree there and continue moving on through that. I'm going to continue to focus on business management. Right now, I'm also at the same time, I work as a roofer. I work for a nonprofit organization full time. So I'm blessed with plenty of work. I'm also growing my own company. Everything that I've learned as far as music and business through my degree, I'm growing my own entertainment company in Fresno. So I've been having a real blast with that. I've been home almost 2 years, and that's where I'm at today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michael, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Alfredo, are you able to hear us, and are you able to connect with audio? Alfredo, can you hear me? I think Alfredo might be having some audio problems on his end. That's okay. If I'll tell you what, if Alfredo can connect the audio and video feed, then we can bring him into the conversation and Q&A throughout the panel today. Okay. Before we go on to the second question, I do want to encourage our audience and participants to think about questions throughout this panel. And if you come up with any questions or you have any thoughts that you want to share with our panelists, if there's time at the end of this panel discussion, then we can open up those questions to the panelists and respond to those. So be thinking about questions that might come up, put them in the chat. And again, if we have time, we'll try to address those towards the end. So I'm going to go on to the second question now. The second question is, how has higher education impacted your reentry experience? And I'll start with Terry. You're on mute, Terry. Got to hit that mute button. It's all good.
It's all good. Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Loud and clear.
Okay. It has impacted me a lot. You know, coming home after doing 36 years and getting involved in education, it was a big plus. It also helped me stay focused, stay grounded, stay away from the negativity. And the truth of the matter, I really was taking education for granted because, you know, I was thinking about some money, but it turned out to be a blessing. And the blessing is that I see things differently since I jumped into the education. As I should have stated earlier, you know, like my major is social work and alcohol and drug counseling, which I have both degrees this year. And it played a big part for me. It really helped me. It helped me get that, to adapt back into society, to not try to be fast, not try to catch up. You know, it just kept me grounded. And so that's what I like the most about me getting involved in education. You know, it really helped me in a lot of ways that I thought that it wouldn't. And the people that's been around me, that's helped me get back reacquainted with society, you know, that was a plus too. You know, there's Alex, there's Victoria, there's Dr. Little, there's Rodney. There's quite a few people at Fresno City College that played a part in me staying grounded and getting me through the hurdles, from one hurdle to the next hurdle. So it ended up paying off, man. And I take them blessings and I run with them.
Thank you so much, Terry. And I very much love and appreciate how you're using your experience and how higher education has impacted you individually to give back to others in a very meaningful way to lift the community up. And I just want to say that's a beautiful thing. So thank you, Terry. Let's go over now to Alex. How has higher education impacted your reentry experience?
Well, in my case, it's helped me stay out, period. Because I had a history of just going in and out, getting violated, like just returning to the same old lifestyle, same cycle. And I tried to like go legit, like stop committing crimes, but I was still in the same circles, same environment. And even though I was trying to do positive, like not illegal things, it wasn't really, I don't know, it just wasn't the same as when I started college and I was around positive, the whole environment was just positive, nothing but positive. And yeah, it's helped me change my way of thinking. It's helped me, I'm a psychology major, so I learned a lot about myself in psychology classes, and I figured out what was like wrong with me or where I wasn't, normal. And I was able to work on those things. And that's something I would have never done had I not been in college and to learn those things. But another thing it's done is I've been able to inspire others to go to school, to break the cycle of incarceration that a lot of my peers, I guess you would call them in the community, it's been very helpful in like impacting other people's lives too. They see me doing good. They see me graduate from city with honors, highest honors. They see me at Fresno State, and that's something that they've never seen before. There's never been someone that comes from that. Well, I mean, there has been, but I mean, I'm saying like as far as all the gangs and the yeah, just all the right here local community. And so I just feel like I'm letting people know that it's possible. It's possible. If I could do it, then they can do it. And that's been very meaningful to me, because when I started at Fresno City, I seen people that inspired me that way, like Kenneth Chacon. And I was when I went to the Puente program, he's like one of the first ones that made me feel like, okay, well, I belong here. And he's like me. He came from the same walk of life, and look at him now. He's an English professor at City College. So if he could attain that, I could attain what I wanted to be, which is become a lawyer. So it's made it possible for me to stay out all this time, is what it really did. So
Thank you, Alex. That's really important, I think, for all of us to know, not just how higher education, Fresno City College, and eventually Fresno State, right, has positively impacted your reentry experience. But thank you for telling us, reminding us about the importance of people providing, like Professor Chacon, right, Kenneth Chacon, just validating you and providing opportunities for you to engage authentically and feel like you belong, because it seems like that was something that was important in your experience here at the college, at Fresno City College. Thank you so much for that. Now let's go ahead and go to Michael. Michael, how has higher education impacted your reentry experience?
I have 3 points that I just want to briefly touch on that are really important to me. Number one, education. Like Alex, I want to piggyback off that. Education gave me a direction. It gave me something to do to fill that void when I wanted to leave that criminal life alone and started understanding what real life was about. So when I started pursuing my education inside, I knew right away, number one, that, oh, wow, once I finished my first semester, I'm actually capable of being able to do more of this stuff. I have the capabilities to go to college, which when we grow up in the streets, we're taught that we're not capable, that all we're ever going to be is down here doing, all these incorrect things that go against social fabric and the social structure. So for me, it was education gave me direction, helped me fill that void. Second thing was discipline. The discipline that it took to manage my time, to complete my classes, and to finish my assignments, and to do the studying that I needed to do, setting aside important time when I would rather be doing a million other things. I was focused on learning my education and studying and getting good grades. That's important that if we're really internalizing this stuff, we're getting grades. The third thing that I took away from this was critical thinking. The critical thinking skills that I learned through education, I apply in real life now. So I didn't do that before. A lot of my life was structured around impulse. I wasn't thinking about my consequences. So now the critical thinking skills that it took to, handwrite out a full page of statistic equations, that same stuff is what I use to make good decisions in real life. I think it's important that people coming into this life realize it's going to take work, but what you learn from it is what's going to help you change your life in the long run.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Michael. Alfredo, can you hear me, Alfredo? And is your audio working now? You have to unmute yourself if it works.
Hello?
All right, Alfredo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, welcome. Hey, we're gonna loop you in. What I want you to do, if you could, Alfredo, can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us your name, and then after you tell us your name, your major, your goals, can you share a little bit about how higher education has impacted your reentry experience?
Okay. All right. So my name is Alfredo Gonzalez. I'm majoring in business and other areas as well, but I just all over the place as far as majors. Education basically gave me the freedom to be back out on the streets. That's as simple as I could put it. If it wasn't for education, I would never came home. It wasn't until I became educated in various areas of the law that I understood that I was in prison because I didn't know the laws and I didn't know how to navigate within the system that had put me in prison for the rest of my life. Or at least at the moment, I thought that's what it was, the rest of my life, which obviously is not the case now. Education allowed me to open my mind to a different way of thinking, a different way of functioning, and a different way of looking at life in general. Because without the education that I received or began involved in prison, I wouldn't have educated myself and known that I had the capacity and potential to come home one day. It started with law education and eventually moved on to other areas of education. Now I'm at Fresno City. Hopefully will be earning my certificate in the Pathway to Law School program. I have earned already 5 associate degrees through Coastline Community College, which I plan on declaring this next semester if I'm healthy enough, which hopefully I will be, and move on to Fresno State in the spring, hopefully majoring in psychology and business, a dual major, which would lead me back to the law again and trying to get to UC Davis and become a lawyer someday, if allowed by the law. Pretty much education saved my life, and if it wasn't for the education that was provided to me in prison, my life would still be the same thing of nothing but negativity, violence, and the continued cycle of gang involvement. Pretty much that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Alfredo, for sharing a little bit about you, your experience, your educational experience, and how that's impacted you both, at the college here, and also your educational experience when you were incarcerated at the time. It's been transformational, and I know you're going to go to Fresno State. You were sounded kind of questionable, but we all know you're going to go there. We see it. Alrighty, we're going to go on to the third question now. Okay. So the third question is, why do you think it's important for college administrators instructors, and classified staff to understand the needs of formerly incarcerated students? And I'll start with you, Terry. Hey, Terry, you're on mute again.
Got me? I think it's very important that the administration and staff understand formerly incarcerated people. The reason why I say that is that we all make mistakes, you know, and when you got somebody that's trying to right their wrong and try to better themselves, I think that each and everybody that's around should be so supportive. I think that if the administration understand the formerly incarcerated individuals, not only does it help them, but it helps the college as a whole. Because you have a lot of people that's around there that they really 1 feet away from messing up and 1 feet away still trying to mess with college and stuff though. So when you got those individuals that them been down that road, and they can be very helpful around the college. Not only that, the administration can help that individual better themselves too. So we, like I said, we all make mistakes. I made a mistake. It cost me 36 years of my life. I gang bang. I'm off the west side of Fresno. I was involved in everything. You know what I'm saying? And coming to the college campus, I tell you, it's a big plus. You got a lot of individuals that really want to change and their thinking has changed. And when you got people around them that's supporting them and helping them, you make a big differences in that person's life. And when you make a big differences in that person's life, you make a big differences in the community. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that administration should be as helpful as they can in understanding individuals that's been incarcerated. I mean, like I said, and I say this again, we all make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that they can play their part and by being so supportive in each and every way, not hold nothing against nobody because he been locked up or he done this and done this. It's all about when a person trying to do right, it's all about surrounding yourself around people that's trying to help. And when you're on a college campus, that's what it's all about, helping that individual get right. And so that's why I believe that staff should be understanding, administration should be supportive of any type of program that that comes up that's dealing with people that's incarcerated. Because not only does it help STEM, it helps us, but it also helps the campus as a whole for those that want to go to college. So that's why I think it's important for the administration and staff to be understanding when it comes to people that's been incarcerated.
Yes. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. Alex, I'm gonna turn to you now with the same question. Tell us why you think it's important for college administrators, instructors, and classified staff to understand the needs of formerly incarcerated students.
I think that they need to understand that they're not like you don't have to treat them a certain kind of way, but you have to know that they have a certain type of mentality. And once you understand that and recognize that they may have some challenges that they face, many of them, if they've done a long time, like Jerry or Alfredo or Michael, then they can. It could be real possible that they don't have any kind of computer skills at all, especially if they come out of doing a full time or they've been locked down or where there's no programs, there's no education for them, so there's no access to computers or so that could be one of the main challenges to them. That's one of the things that I struggled with because I wasn't too computer savvy and it affected me and I had to learn all kind of new stuff. So I think that them understand that. And another thing is just making them feel like they belong. Like don't make them feel like they're outsiders. Because like when my first year there at City College, I just felt like I didn't belong. Like I didn't. Like I felt like I didn't belong there. Like if everyone could see me and could tell like where I come from and where I've been, like I've been in prison, I've been in gangs, I've been like running the streets. Like I don't know. I just felt like they could see me and tell that I didn't belong there. I didn't look like the other young students that were, you know, dressed different and carried themselves different. But that was one of the things that, like I said earlier, that when I got into Puente, there was a lot of people that made me feel welcome. They made me feel like I belonged there. And I think that's very important because, like, even people like at the financial aid office or the in the library, if they have like attitude, or they don't say anything right, or they have like a look on their face that could turn people away, and that could just, that one little look or that one little remark that they take offensive because of, you know, because they're institutionalized or whatever, and the people behind the desk might not realize what they're doing or the effect they're having, but you got to be careful with stuff like that. You got to be, I wouldn't say sensitive, but just be aware of that and the impact that it could have. And another thing that I think is necessary, so they could connect them with the resources available that they know are available to them in the community or on campus, such as like different clubs, different organizations, like the Rising Scholars Program, and just be mindful of their challenges that they have, and you know, they're probably not used to talk. Like I wasn't used to talking to instructors or anything like that. I was like, I was real antisocial. I was like, I had a social anxiety. I couldn't be around people. I couldn't, you know, approach people. And I've always had a problem with people like who I thought were an authority. And so anybody behind a desk to me was authority. I had a real problem talking to people like that, or asking for help. I wouldn't ask for help. I just figured stuff out on my own, it just took me longer, and it just wasting time when I could just easily just approach someone. And so I think it's real important to be approachable to the students so that they can feel comfortable asking for help or asking for clarification or something like that.
Thank you, Alex. Absolutely. You touch on some very critical points. It's important to make you feel like you belong. We all want to belong, right? That's something that's part of our common humanity. We want to belong, and not to feel like you don't belong is not going to help, right? So sharing your experience with us is very insightful, and it's very helpful. Thank you for that. Michael, now I turn to you. Why do you think it's important for college administrators, instructors, and classified staff to understand the needs of formerly incarcerated students?
I feel like, well, first of all, my personal experience helps me share why important it is, right? So I'm going to touch base on that. I ended up meeting Jennifer Leahy when I was still incarcerated, and she came into Pleasant Valley and came to our graduation or a graduation class where I was doing something else, a speaker or a performer there. But she was there, I met her. And then what we hadn't known at the time is we had already been corresponding through Project Rebound, and she was helping, giving me guidance on what classes I needed to take when I was still inside. So those paving stones are already being laid long before I came home. And I think that the outreach programs are really important to help guys when they transition from incarceration to campus life. Luckily for me, she was able to put me in touch with Mark McNiff and Alex Banda. And that's how I started going to Fresno City College right away, with assistance and guidance from individuals who had already dealt with guys like myself and had already been helping people transition and help them understand what they were going to expect when they got to campus. It was still rough because at the same time, I was still having to learn how to live in society again, learning how to, just transition into new responsibility. It's not a yard and day room time no more. It's real life time. So how do I incorporate these things into my schedule? a car to get to campus when we have classes, if we're working full time, learning how to manage all those things. So I had questions along the way. Mark McNiff and Alex Banda were both always a phone call away if I ever needed anything. So I felt like the support was there, because if it's not there, people like that come from backgrounds like us, we quit easy if we don't understand something. So even though we may sign up for classes, I think all of us know a lot of guys in prison who even started college classes, even inside, and then they quit because they didn't learn the time management skills to finish the class, or it was they instead of asking for help, they quit because they couldn't process what they were learning and they couldn't do it on their own. So it's important for our instructors to know that some of us have different learning methods that we need to learn from. A lot of us need hands-on training all the way through campus. As soon as I paroled, Jennifer Leahy had me go out to Fresno State. I spoke with her. She introduced me to Mark McNiff. I went and spoke with him in office, and he helped me get my classes lined up. He helped me get in connection with Alex. So when I was on campus, I would run into Alex all the time, going to different classes. So these things are what help us stay focused and on track. Because if we don't, and I feel like Fresno City should probably have more of an outreach program into our prisons. We got to figure out how to do something like that, maybe, because I think that the responsibility isn't always on Project Rebound. It starts smaller than that, because Project Rebound is the graduate area where everybody's aiming to get. There's that stepping stone of going through community college and getting the associate degree first, which is for somebody who maybe just barely got their GED, is intimidating for them. So they need some help, just like we all do. All of us are at a point now where we help the next person that's learning this process. And I think that that's important. Just like when a lot of us that come home, before we started making changes in our life, we started going to self-help groups. So even in those groups, we look for mentors and people who have already walked down that path before to help us learn what we got to do to start making good decisions. Same thing helped me on campus in that process. So I don't feel like there's anything important that I need to tell anybody that you guys don't already know. We just need maybe more of it, right? So that we can help as many people as we can, because even one person that quits because they don't understand is, I feel like, one too many sometimes. That's all I got on this question. Thank you.
No. Thank you, Michael. I can't thank you enough for your response. It's very thoughtful, and it's very, very critical for us that teach, our administrators, leaders, or classified professionals in the college to very thoughtfully and critically reflect on your response, all of your responses, really. But Michael, you hit it on the head about the outreach to the prisons right now. It is something that we are exploring, and we're trying to facilitate those pathways and connections. And I think you hit it right on the head. I'd love to connect you offline later on to even pick your brain a little more about some other ideas. But I know my colleagues are telling me we're running out of time. Just a time check here. We got about 14 minutes left, and we have to get through one more question, but I want to make sure that Alfredo has a chance to respond to this one. So Alfredo, if you can still hear me and your mic is working, why do you think it's important for college administrators, instructors, and classified staff to understand the needs of formerly incarcerated students?
Well, like everybody else said, I agree. There has to be more outreach. There has to be more communication and understanding that many of us come from prison after doing 20, 30 years. And we either went into prison before the technology came into effect, or computers weren't around, cell phones weren't around. And even then, the case is that many of us are, like Alex said, we become institutionalized to the point that we don't respect, or not so much respect, but we don't want to communicate with people of authority and people behind a desk. Naturally, to most people, they have some sort of authority, and if they understand that we're coming from an atmosphere that it has neglected us for whatever reason, we can feel welcomed. And not only will
that help the administrators welcome us and allow us to feel welcomed. But then other people that we know will say, hey, if they can do it, why can't I? And it becomes a new cycle, a positive cycle, instead of a cycle of negativity, a positive cycle of saying, hey, well, this guy did double life. He did 24, 25 years, 36 years like Terry did, and he was able to get out. He was accepted at a community college. He graduated, made it to a university, and all with the help and assistance of his peers and the administration. That makes people feel welcomed. And that's what we want to try to breed. We want to breed a new system of positivity and productivity, not negativity. And I think that everybody hit it right on the head. There has to be more outreach, not only within the community, but to the prison systems, because a lot of people in prison are not aware that people even care about them, that there are opportunities for them when they come home. You know, I'll close with that because everybody already pretty much stated everything that needs to be stated.
Thank you, Alfredo. Thank you, everyone, for responding to that one. It's important, do more of what we're doing. There's not enough, right? There's so much work to do. And I think that's been a common theme for the response to the third question. So we have about 11 minutes, and I want to get to one more question. So if you could respond to the question and try to keep it as brief as possible, just so everyone can get through the questions, okay? So the question is, what barriers, if any, have you encountered at Fresno City College? And I'll start with you, Terry. Unmute.
Got me? The barriers that I encountered is technology. I think that not only technology, but unfortunately, I'm one of the exceptions to the rules that was able to meet people to guide me through city when I first got there. What I think that we need is we need more resources on campus. We need to put it in a brochure that if a person that's been formerly incarcerated, this is where you go, and you can just start the train there so he can go from point A to point B to point C. Me coming on campus, like I said, I was blessed. Technology is one of the things, being locked up for 36 years, I don't have access to technology. You know what I'm saying? So, except a little phone or something, probably I wasn't supposed to have, but anyway, I don't have access at technology and stuff. So me coming out, that was one of the biggest things that I encountered. And I really people really didn't tell me nothing about any type of resources. I really happened to run across people that I kind of had conversations with, and they pointed me to. I think the colleges need to have more resources, more brochures for those that's coming out, so they know where to go and where to get the resources at, though. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, the biggest encounter was like I say, technology. And the other people that done came behind me that was there, they didn't sustain it because they wasn't pulled in. They was lost, because really you're on your own. And they was lost, even though I was trying to get in their ear, hey man, come on over here, come on over here. They was lost, man, because I'm a person that really was shy to ask for help. My little pride and ego come into play. Man, I don't want nobody to know. I don't know how to do this here. I don't know nothing about no technology. So I get a little quiet and stuff. But as time went on, I learned in order for me to understand and to learn, I have to ask questions. So that's something that I come about. But a lot of people don't do that. Some people just leave it alone. So I just think that what I encounter is a lot of things that other people encounter. And that's something that we need to pay attention to, how we can help those stay on campus. And I just think that we need to have more resources on campus, a brochure for individuals that's getting out so they can go from point A to point B. All right.
Thank you very much, Terry. Alex, we'll turn to you. You got to unmute.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. One of the things that the barriers, like I said already, technology, of course. Another barrier was there was no I guess it wasn't really a barrier, but I think I would have done better had there been a program like Rising Scholars, so I could just get in right away and to be around, to just to know that there was other people like me on campus, just to know that I'm not the only one that has this mentality. I'm not the only one that is facing these challenges, and I'm not the only one. I wouldn't feel like I stood out, or I would have had someone to talk to, or to, um, hang out with, or ask questions, or whatever. Um, that's that's it. All my other barriers, they weren't really campus related. But yeah, but now I was homeless for a minute, and I needed stable housing, and yeah, so I struggled with that. But now that they have the Hope program there, there's help. There's resources there for students going through that stuff. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Thank you for that, Alex. So Michael, we'll turn to you. What barriers, if any, have you encountered at the college?
For me, I mean, of course, it's the same thing. It's technology, but I think most definitely it was learning to understand the software that's in the technology, right? So like it's the assumption of Canvas. Canvas is, the program that we all use there to, upload our assignments, to look to see when our assignments are due, to communicate with the teacher. When you ask for help on that, there's really no tutorials to help you find that stuff. And I get it, because when we're all on campus and we're all pursuing our degrees, it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day activities, and not paying too attention to the fact that, a lot of guys don't understand exactly how to navigate through that system. So when I'm in class, and I can even be in class and I can ask even a regular student who just came from high school, and I'm 20 years older than this person, and hey, do you know how to use Canvas? No, I just barely started learning too. So sometimes it's harder for anybody to really learn this stuff, especially for us. So I think for us, it's going to require maybe some real-time training during our during a student's semester, maybe paired with a mentor at the very beginning who's going to teach them how to navigate and upload even their first assignment, so that they understand that process from the start. Instead of, do you understand Canvas? Yes. When a lot of times we'll say yeah, because we're afraid to admit that we don't know something. We don't want to look stupid or whatever the roadblock may be. That was it. Same thing, just technology and understanding the software better. If we could have an opportunity for any of us to learn that stuff better, to have a mentor for that, I think that'd work great.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate how you touched on the kind of what it sounds like, the navigation piece, right? Like, yeah, technology is important, but even coming to the campus for the first time, if you're a high school student, you're system impacted or Carso impacted, having someone there to show you how to college, basically, right? How do you college, right? How do you do it? Having someone there, it sounds like that could be really transformational. And that's something we hope and aim to provide with our Rising Scholars program, but sounds like we need some more of it, or at least more outreach and intentional outreach. So thank you. Alfredo, last and certainly not least, you have the last response here. So what barriers, if any, have you encountered at Fresno City College?
Well, thankfully, aside from the technology and of course, like Michael said, the navigation through that, because I was sitting here trying to download Zoom onto my phone, and you seen how long it took for me to do that. Uh, that navigation and stuff. But thankfully, there was people like Alex Banda that were already there, that had already established that something, they knew the groundwork, and were able to help me navigate through the college, meeting you, meeting Mark, meeting different people, and it assisted me. That's the main thing, I think, is the information. We are not only, like you said, even a high school student coming over, it's new to them, but for us, it's overwhelming. And sometimes that overwhelming feeling can cause you to just, you know, give up. And we don't want to give up because we've come that far. But yeah, I think it's having a mentor from the beginning to teach you the ropes from the beginning, because none of us want to admit that we don't know how to do something. You know, it takes a lot for someone to say, hey, you know what, I can't do it, and I need help, especially people coming from prison. We have too much pride or ego or whatever you want to call it, and we need more assistance. And Rising Scholars, I think, is at the forefront for that, and I believe that the program's going to assist us and help us, and it can only get better. It can't get any worse. So to be honest, yeah, I had roadblocks, but there were some barriers, but I got over them real quick because I had assistance, and that was key for me. You know, thank you.
No, Alfredo, thank you, and thank you all to our panelists. That brings us to the end of our time for the student panel, the first one for today. If I could please get a virtual round of applause or a physical round of applause from everyone that's out there. Us as the panelists and me, the facilitator, we can't see you, but we can feel it. We feel you. So thank you for your applause. And I really want to tip my hat off to Terry, to Alex, Michael, Alfredo. I thank you is insignificant. Like it's not significant enough for how I feel, because I appreciate you sharing your lived experience, responding very candidly and authentically to the questions. And I know that everyone listening and watching right now, I know they feel the same way. So thank you all so very, very, very much. We see you, we hear you, and we're here for you. And with that, we do have a few closing remarks. And what I'm going to ask for is if Alex Banda and Victoria Rocha, if you can please stay on the Zoom call. And I'll ask Terry, Michael, and Alfredo, you're welcome to log off now. And we have a few closing remarks to close out the day. And before we go to the closing remarks, I do want to remind everyone a couple things. Please be sure to fill out the surveys if you haven't already. Thank you to our interpreters as well. I saw them switch. Just wanted to give you all a shout out. Thank you. Again, a reminder to the audience, please remember to fill out your session and symposium surveys. I believe my colleague Susie Nitzel will send an email to all the participants to fill out a survey as well as a reminder, but do fill those out. It helps us improve the event for the next year. Yes, we're gonna have it again next year, but it might have a new name, which leads me to my next point. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the mic over to my colleague, my sister from another mister, as I call her, Dr. Little. I want to turn it over to you to kind of close us out today and also talk about how we're reimagining the space that we're all engaging in right now.
Sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Ramirez. Well, we hope you all had a good first day at the symposium. I know it's been incredible for me popping in and out of different sessions. So I'm loving the engagement. I'm looking through all the chats, and those are exactly some of the questions and comments we're looking for. So thank you very much. But to close, we want to talk briefly about the Rising Scholars, and particularly the two Rising Scholars, our pioneers for our program here on campus. And then those two, and I'm talking about Victoria Rocha and Alex Banda, who has spent like endless days and nights making sure that students' voices are being heard, even during the pandemic. They were calling, they were emailing, this student needs this. And so they kept the voices of students elevated. And I just want to take a moment to kind of elevate them. And doing all that, they remained focused on this symposium, just as we worked hard. They were in the same meetings that we were in, and managing their own lives during this pandemic. So I want to say thank you to both Victoria and to Alex. And the other thing is that we are, as educators, we're passionate about empowering our rising scholars. And like I said in my initial statement, we're passionate about having them reclaim their stories and reclaim their place on campus and in their communities. And so the one thing that I know I remind myself is that Victoria and Alex are phenomenal human beings, right, first, and they're exceptional students. So we want to thank you both. And I want to say thank you for allowing myself to bear witness to your rising. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Little.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Ray, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
The gratitude and the thanks is all mine. It's all of ours. Thank you. And I think
Go ahead, Victoria. Victoria's going to.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, is that my cue? So as we talked about today, and even Danny spoke about it as well, we talked about language and things that might be harmful instead of empowering. Like Dr. Little said, trying to, you know, just change the language that's used when in regards to somebody who is formerly incarcerated. We want to try to move away from that statement, from that, well, as we call it, jacket, right? We kind of want to move away from that. So moving forward, we would just, you know, for us, I'm speaking for myself, for Alex, anybody else who identifies, you know, in our population, you know, we are rising scholars. We are no longer, you know, should have to identify as that formerly incarcerated individual. We are educated. We are holders of degrees. You know, so I really feel that we, you know, going forward, you know, when you mention us, you know, rising scholars, not Victoria Rocha, the formerly incarcerated student. No, I'm Victoria Rocha and I'm a rising scholar.
That was beautiful, Victoria. Beautiful. Yes.
No doubt about it. And thank you for that, Victoria. And, you know, with that being said, you all can expect for the name of this symposium to change for next year, for the second annual Rising Scholars Symposium. We intend to change that name. And I just, you know, we can't thank you enough, Victoria, for speaking truth to power. Words indeed matter, language matters. And you know, what Dr. Little touched on, man, so eloquently, I could never rephrase it in the way that she did. But in the morning, you know, the words that we use are so important because they can either reinforce deficit thinking and perpetuate stigmas, or we can use language that is healing, right? We can use language that disrupts oppressive thinking and deficit mindedness. And that's what we intend to do. And thank you so much for reminding us about the importance of that, both Victoria and Dr. Little. So thank you. And with that, I think we're done. We're closed out for the day. We really look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, bright and early, starting at 8:30. Hope to see you all there. And we are very honored and looking forward to having Dr. Little as our morning keynote speaker. So please do be there, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone.